Hedge fund billionaire pressed Treasury Secretary for Argentina bailout. Argentine media reports. So I don't know if anybody's heard about this. I need to know a little bit more about this. So hopefully this article will clear up some misconceptions I might have. But my understanding basically is that like the Argentinian stock market like full on collapsed. Like it's the worst in the world at this, or it was just like a couple weeks ago or something. And that the Trump administration came in and said, you know what, we're just going to basically give you $20 billion to like fix this, right? We're going to take a syringe of $20 billion and just inject it right into the Argentinian stock market's veins to try and like bring them up and to try and, take them out of the hole that they're in, right? The hole that largely, to some degree, their turbo libertarian president, Javier Milei, caused with, his not entirely economically sound policies. Well, one reason I heard for, one thing you might think about this is like, why would they want to do this? Well, one thing I heard, and I'm thinking that this article is going to corroborate this, is that a bunch of U.S.-based billionaires basically dumped a bunch of money into the Argentinian stock market and economy when Milei was elected on the false idea that like, well, I guess they're libertarians and they believe in libertarian economics or whatever, and they really thought it was going to blow up. Well, it did the exact opposite. It blew up in the bad way, and the stock market tanked. And now the billionaires are coming crawling to Trump saying, we helped you get elected. Help bail us out, baby. So let's see if that's actually what's happening. On September 24th, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced a $20 billion package to rescue the Argentinian economy. It was a dramatic move to bail out a country that has little economic impact on the United States. Argentine President Javier Milei is scheduled to meet President Trump at the White House later this month. On Monday, Popular Information revealed that the tax-funded bailout had massive economic benefits for hedge fund billionaires Rob Citron, a personal friend and former colleague of Bessent. Citron's fund, Discovery Capital, had bet heavily on Argentina, purchasing Argentine debt and equity in numerous companies closely tied to the country's overall economy. Citron's investments reflected his belief that Milei's right-wing economic program, which emphasizes deregulation and sharply reduced government spending, would revitalize the Argentine economy. That theory began to unravel as growth slowed, unemployment spiked, and Milei's popularity tanked. This spring, Citron reportedly urged Bessent to help Milei secure a separate $20 billion package from the International Monetary Fund. The IMF funds began to arrive in April, but proved insufficient to turn the Argentine economy around. Concerns turned into panic after Milei's party was routed in the Buenos Aires provincial election in early September, fueling fears that Milei would soon lose control of the economic agenda. Investors began dumping the peso and liquidating other Argentine assets, which spelled major trouble for Citron's hedge fund. So everything's lining up with the way I put it. Oh, gosh. Sometimes it sucks being right, and everything so far is lining up exactly with what I thought the situation was. Major Argentine media outlets are now reporting that Citron asked Bessent for a United States rescue package. Ariel Maciel, political economy editor at Perfil, a large Argentine media outlet, wrote that after Buenos Aires elections, Citron returned to his friend and former colleague to request a second bailout, this time from the very coffers Bessent manages, the U.S. Treasury. Yeah, your tax dollars are going to backstop the dumb investment choices of some billionaires that are just buddy-buddy with Trump and members of the Trump administration. That's explicitly what's happening here. CE Noticias Financieras, a major wire service in Latin America, similarly reported that after Argentine officials ran into resistance with lower-level Trump officials, Citron managed to connect with Bessent to get him to intervene directly. Maciel elaborated on his reporting during an appearance on Net TV, an Argentine broadcaster. Quote, Citron is really the one who intervenes. He basically tells Bessent, hey, we need help in Argentina, Maciel said during the segment. Popular Information contacted Discovery Capital and asked if the reports that Citron asked Bessent to bail out Argentina were accurate. Discovery Capital declined to comment. Wow, I could have guessed what that last sentence was going to say. I would have bet a lot of money that it was going to say they declined to comment. Of course they did. Maciel also noted that 2 weeks before Besant announced the bailout, Citron purchased additional bonds for almost nothing. Maciel said the timing of Citron's recent purchases has raised suspicions that Citron had access to confidential information. That is literally the definition of insider trading. But like, not only insider trading kind of like on another level, right? Because insider trading, you're only manipulating a private market, right? But like, these people are using the levers of government and cynical connections to the ridiculous Trump administration to like enrich themselves via explicit, blatant insider trading. That's crazy. And also, it shows that the dude's not even like Citron was good friends with Trump himself or something, right? At least that would be a little bit more consistent, right? He's just friends with the dude he's just friends with the Treasury Secretary, right? It's not like he's even best friends with Trump or something, right? He's just friends with, bro, they're like full in, like, you know what? I don't think this is just one of those things where it's like, I guess maybe they're relying on the cross-continent, cross-country, cross-language, like lack of reporting, lack of connection that most Americans are going to make, like, to be so explicit about this, right? Like, I mean, for these Argentine media outlets to know that Citron asked Besant, that probably means Citron like did some sort of interview admitting that this is exactly what happened. And the only reason I think he would be comfortable enough to make that kind of admittance is knowing that, like, well, in Argentina is probably, I don't know if they have insider trading rules in Argentina, but I would view, it would not surprise me if they did not have any rules like that. And he's also relying on the fact that, like, look, Americans don't pay attention. There's already so much going on domestically. You know, most of them don't read Spanish or whatever, so they're not going to be able to, like, actually look into the articles from the primary source. So they're going to rely on secondary sources to find it. This is just absolute rank, brazen corruption, and it is coming straight out of the pocket of every American, right? That $20 billion that they're just going to give to just literally give to the Argentinian stock market or whatever as a backstop for all these billionaire buddies of members of the Trump administration, so they can not lose as much on their dumb investments on the insane libertarian economy promises from Milei. This is just like a cascade of stupid, all right? This is just a cascade of stupid, and it's just like, it is just pure corruption at the expense of the American taxpayer. That's all this is.